What's up, guys? Welcome back. If you want to follow along today, we're going to start pulling apart this 90 Civic. Everything from the engine, front suspension, rear suspension, exhaust, and we're going to put back this car to essentially a stock vehicle. The parts that are on this car are going to help get the 90 Civic SI running again. We're going to use the engine and transmission, basically the drivetrain setup for this car since it doesn't have a working motor. And a lot of the suspension components we are going to use on the sedan, such as the rear disc brakes, maybe the front knuckles actually. They're going to go back onto here because I had swapped my EX knuckles from this car onto that car back in September. And then these have rebuilt DX knuckles and we'll move those to this car. So that's the goal. Get this car back to stock. And within the next few months, I think after this car is back to stock, we're gonna work on that sedan. I picked up an engine from a friend the other day, a little D15B cable transmission. This is perfect. It'll be a straight drop into the hatch when I sell it. And a long time ago, I had a D15Z1 over here. This is a 9295 Civic VX with matching transmission. I have the intake manifold and all the parts. We're going to try to get that into the sedan. That's probably going to be the next project after we finish getting this one running again. So if you want to follow along, we're going to just start working on this, give you little updates along the way. See what we can get, and hopefully we can get this car moved out of here ASAP. This is where we are at a few hours later. Got the supercharged engine pulled. Remove the wiring harness because this engine also has OBD1 injectors on it, so that it makes it a little more convenient. You can just plug everything up. I removed it while I was out of the car, installed it on this one. Got this engine now mounted up so I can start putting on axles, hooking everything up, and then I'm going to move over to suspension. I pulled off the coilovers. I'm going to pull off my EX knuckles, actually all that stuff, because I have those there, suspension bushings. Here's a handful of the random parts. That exhaust, I think I'm going to take that to Nabi and install it on the Y49. May have to just have it cut and welded at the front so it's a little bit shorter, but I think it'll bolt up perfectly and it'll be a clean sounding exhaust on there. Everything else will be going on the sedan for suspension, get that running, and that motor, I'd like to clean it up very, very well before we even do any sort of attempting to install it. And when needed, I'll take parts from the other car, like the battery tray. Needed the positive terminal. I do want to do battery relocation on this car anyway, so whatever I need from here I'm going to take. I'm going to put this radiator back in there. This radiator was actually in that car until I used the Yonaka on it, so I'll swap that back over. And just get the parts I need back here. Like I have my EX master cylinder and knuckles on that car, and I'll eventually get those pulled and put the DX versions back on. Moving along a little further, I got that original bumper back on, headlights, radiator, all those things back in. Whenever I just come across it, I just keep moving towards an end goal on this. Still quite a ways to go. Got a little lazy and tired, so I'm starting to work on the easy stuff. Removed my ECU, the air fuel ratio gauge and the sensor. I was pulling that through here. Get the boost gauge and the EFB Motorsports block off and gauge pod removed. So this is relatively easy. That's why I'm working on this now. Pulled out my tucked battery setup. I'm just going to use that tucked battery setup with the wiring on, of course, that car. Go with a smaller battery, and then I'm just putting the battery back in the front here. So that's where we're at for the moment. Let's keep on trucking. It's probably one of the first times I've ever had an energy hub. It's like really on there. I was trying everything to get it off. So I bust out these bearing pullers, and it has a point which fits in there. Hopefully this thing, if I can get this damn thing removed. It's been kind of a pain in the butt. Let's see if we can get it removed. Finally. That thing must just been, oh, I see what happened. When I put Loctite on the nut, it looks like it slid down. Yep. And you can see it here. So it had kind of Loctited this damn thing on there, but that seemed to work pretty easily. So that other day I finished off the interior, got that all put back together. Been out here for the last couple of hours in the morning. I swapped over the Skunk 2 camber kit along with my EX knuckles. I removed those, pulled off the rear lower control arm, also with the energy suspension bushings for the end link and also for the lower control arm itself. Have a handful of those parts here still. Those are going to go back onto the 90 SI. I've kept buttoning up little things here and there. I'm about to add oil. I think I have everything finished up in the engine bay. I even swapped back, put back the DX master cylinder, pulled my EX one off so I can put that also back onto that car. Hopefully I can get a little bit closer right now. I'm going to see if I can get it started. Alright, so I've gotten to the point where I believe everything is hooked up, with the exception of an exhaust. I have distributor on. I believe the spark plug wire orientation is correct. I ended up using a new distributor. This is an OBD2 from Supercharged hatch. I had a spare. It seems to work with this jumper harness. I think it'll work with this setup. It does bolt up properly to this head. Fluid is in, oil's in, transmission fluid is all set up. This is done. Off camera I was changed out with those stock LCAs and UCAs, upper control arms on. I think I'm just going to leave the rear discs on here. A lot more work to remove those. I have like 3 other sets still remaining, so I think I'm just going to leave those on there for now. I have a couple ECUs, unknown if they work or not. I can't remember if one's automatic and one is manual. Regardless, I have 2 P06s we're going to try out. I think we're ready to start it. I didn't double check the battery. Hopefully it has enough juice. Let's see what it does. Oops. Okay. Looks like we have enough power. Let's see what these check engine lights are for. I'm gonna narrow those down and see if we can figure those out. So after turning the camera off, I looked online, couldn't remember. Code 4 is a crank position sensor, and code 19 is automatic solenoid. So it looks like this may be an automatic ECU. I'll have to try the other one next. And crank position sensor, maybe that is, actually might be the distributor because it's an OBD2 distributor. I might have to try an alternative one. I don't think I have one laying around, but I'm gonna double check. We're trying the second ECU and I think it's chipped. I don't know if that normally is there. Let's see. Looks like code 21, which is a VTEC switch or sensor. I don't know which. Let's see. I'd say this ECU is a no-go. What's this one saying now? It's 21. Four again. And this ECU, the one that gave me the auto solenoid code, you can obviously tell it has the RP17 and RP18 resistors. So we're going to convert this one to manual. Basically, you remove those two, RP17, RP18, then we re-bridge RP18 with just a regular piece of wire. Okay, so here's a small update. I can't remember where I left off last. I've been working on trying to get it running right, and I haven't had any luck. Put a brand new distributor, OBD1, for a DX. Code 4 does not go away. Might be a wiring issue, I'm not sure. Just have the correct jumpers. Code 16 keeps giving me that for fuel injectors. I changed to a different set, different known working set. Still can't get it running right. It starts up, but it just runs really roughly, and I kind of left it alone for now. I didn't want to just keep troubleshooting that. Honestly, if I cannot get it running correctly, I'm just going to still sell it for less that someone else figured out. I don't want to devote a ton of time to just messing with that. So the other day after I finished working on the engine, I put the carpet back in. I'm now working on the rear, and I got that carpet from this parts car. It was in here still on the bottom. It's in decent shape too. Now I'm going to work on getting both of these panels and the rear panel in, which should be pretty quickly. And then I have the rear seats here from a blue EF hatch that I parted out a few months back. So we'll get the full interior back into the hatch here shortly. And here is a last look of it finished up. I didn't get a chance to record the interior. Ended up selling it before I had a chance to. Someone's supposed to pick it up. He has the keys. I can't even get inside it any longer. But I put all that rear interior back in, carpet, and it's good to go. And so, well, we say see ya to the 90 Civic. Kind of bittersweet. The car was fun to work on. Honestly, I think I just wasted my time working on it over the last year or so, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Glad to see it leave now. I can start working on this car back here. Same with my CRX. I wish I could have gotten the car running a little bit better before I sold it, but the guy that's going to buy it, the guy that did buy it, he actually has an EF hatch. He's going to work on it. It looked like cylinders 1 and 4 weren't firing. My guess is when I pull the wiring harness off with the engine and put on the new engine, I bet there's some wires in there that just aren't working any longer. So keeps throwing that cylinder 4, code 4 for the cylinder position sensor. Regardless, he'll probably get it up and running. He's gonna keep in touch, and hopefully he actually takes care of it. It would be sad to see it just kind of go downhill if they can't get it running correctly and fixed right, and kind of sad that I didn't do that myself. So if you care to follow along for where the channel's headed next, I'm finally going to get to working on my CRV. I'm going to do the suspension rebuild with ball joints, wheel bearings, bushings for the front, some of the rear. I want to get that taken care of. I also want to replace a wheel bearing and the lower ball joints and install a lift spacer on the Tundra. And then on the EK, I need to fix a water line, maybe a few small things here and there like lower ball joints. I think I might want to lower it and throw a set of wheels on it. But the goal is now just to get all of the dailies up to par, and then I'm going to move over to getting the sedan running next. So It'll be a little bit before I get here, and then even longer before I start working on the track cars. But I do plan on getting to these hopefully middle, maybe even end of the year, like September, October. I can't really tell you. I'm trying to predict work/life, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. But with the GSR gone and the 90 Civic gone, obviously I have a little bit more time to focus on these. And then also these cars have been sitting here forever. I haven't driven them in the longest time, and that's honestly what I want to do. I want to get them out and wash them and start driving them a little bit more. Once I get some of these other projects finished, some of these other things sold. I have a giveaway going on for some wheels right now. If you're interested in that, you can hit me up on Instagram. But we'll get there. Still moving forward. Hope you guys have enjoyed the channel this far. It's been a little slow lately. But thanks for always sticking around. Thanks for just joining me on whatever I may be working on. I appreciate you guys tagging along and just seeing what's going on for the channel. You guys take it easy. We'll talk to you soon.